Hello from Kingfisher, Oklahoma. Today we're going to look at 1 Samuel 2 and 3. Well, if you remember, Hannah got her prayer answered and gave birth to Samuel. And she is so excited about this that she sings a praise song to God, and it's recorded in chapter 2. And in it, she kind of talks similarly of her situation, how God often reverses things. For example, she was barren and she will have children. And there's also talk about rich and poor in there and how God can change your circumstances. So it's pretty cool there. 2, Eli is the current high priest, we find out, but he has 2 worthless sons. Again, it said it before in King James that they're sons of Belial. Basically, they're just doing terrible things. And they're taking advantage of their position to do it. They're cheating on people's offerings. They're allowed to take a certain amount at a certain time in the offering, but they're not doing that correctly. They're taking more. They're inappropriate with the women that serve in the tabernacle also, or who are there. So, pretty bad. But, or God then says, number 5, we're going to jump ahead to number 5 and we'll come back to number 3. God eventually confronts Samuel over his sons. And he's saying his family's going to be cut off. You're not taking any action against your sons. He does criticize them, but he doesn't really do anything about it. So God says your family's going to be cut off from that job, and I'm going to raise up another priest instead. And that priest is going to be Samuel. That's number 3. It's very interesting. We see Samuel is serving in the temple, though he's not a Levite of lineage. He's an Ephrathite of Ephraim. So that's very interesting. I don't think we get to see a lot more of that, but anyway. And we also get to see woven in this story there that number 4, his mom, Hannah, is very blessed by God. She was blessed with Samuel as a son, gives him over to God just like she promised. But then God blesses her with 5 more children, and she's very grateful about that. And then number 6, we finally get this very famous story where God calls Samuel, but Samuel doesn't know it's God that's talking. And then Samuel is established as this priest and as a prophet. So it's a very interesting story. Looking forward to it. Let's jump into reading it. Chapter 2. And Hannah prayed and said, "My heart rejoiceth in the Lord, mine horn is exalted in the Lord, my mouth is enlarged over mine enemies, because I rejoice in thy salvation. There is none as holy as the Lord, for there is none beside thee, neither is there any rock like our God. Talk no more exceedingly proudly, let not arrogancy come out of your mouth, for the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. The bows of the mighty men are broken, and they that stumbled are girded with strength." So see kind of role reversal there. They that have hired themselves out, they that are full hire themselves out for bread, and they that hungry ceased being hungry, so that the barren hath borne 7 children, and she that hath many children is waxed feeble. God reverses that. We actually do see that in the New Testament quite a lot. Jesus is saying the first shall be last, the last shall be first. So this is kind of sprinkled throughout the scripture. The Lord killeth, and the Lord maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave, and he bringeth up. The Lord maketh poor, and he maketh rich. He bringeth low, and he lifteth up. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth the beggar up from the dunghill, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he has set the world upon them. He will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be in silent darkness. For the strength shall no man prevail. For by strength no man shall prevail. The adversaries of the Lord shall be broken to pieces. Out of the heaven he shall thunder upon them. The Lord shall judge the hands of the earth, and he shall give strength unto his king, and exalt the horn of his anointed. And Elkanah went to Ramah with his house, and the child did minister to the Lord before Eli the priest. Now the sons of Eli were sons of Belial. They knew not God. And the priest's custom with the people was that if any man offered sacrifice, the priest servant came in, while the flesh was seething, with a fishhook of 3 teeth in his hand, and he stuck it in the pot or kettle or cauldron, and all the flesh hook brought up the priest would take for himself. So did they in Shiloh unto the Israelites that came thither. Also before they burnt the fat, the priest came in and said to the man that sacrificed, Give flesh to roast for the priest, for we will have not sodden the flesh of thee raw. And if any man said unto him, Let not fail to burn the fat presently, and then take as much as thy soul desireth, he would answer him, Nay, but thou wilt give it to me now, and if not, I will take it by force. So these guys are jumping all over the sacrifice, doing it the wrong way. Wherefore the sin of the young man was very great before the Lord, for the men abhorred the offering of the Lord. But Samuel ministered before the Lord, being a child girded with a linen ephod. Moreover, his mother made him a little coat, and brought it from him from year to year, as she came up with her husband to offer the yearly sacrifice. And Eli blessed Elkanah and his wife, and said, The Lord give thee seed of this woman, for the loan which lent to the Lord. And they went up to their own home, and the Lord visited Hannah, so that she conceived, and bare 3 sons and 2 daughters. The child Samuel grew before the Lord. Now Eli was very old, and his sons did unto Israel, and heard of all that his sons did unto Israel, and how they lay with the women that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he said to them, Why do you such things? For I heard your evil dealings by all this people. Nay, my sons, for it is no good report that I hear, ye that make people to transgress. If one man sin against another, the judge will judge him. But if a man sin against the Lord, who shall entreat for him? Notwithstanding, they hearken not unto the voice of their father, because the Lord would slay them. So they don't listen at all. The child Samuel grew on, and was in favor with both the Lord and with men. And there came a man of God unto Eli, and said to him, Thus saith the Lord, Did I plainly appear to the house of thy father when they were in Egypt, in Pharaoh's house? And did I choose him out of all the tribes to be my priest, to offer on thy altar, to burn incense, to wear an ephod before me? And did I give my house of my father all the offerings made with fire, and the children of Israel? Wherefore kick ye at my sacrifice, and at my own offering, which I have commanded in my habitation? And honorest thy sons above me, to make yourself fat with the chiefest of all offerings of my people. Wherefore the Lord saith, I said indeed that thy house of thy father would walk before me forever. But now the Lord saith, Be it far from me, for them that honor me I will honor, and they that despise me shall be lightly esteemed. Behold, the days come that I will cut off thine arm, and the arm of thy father's house, and there shall not be an old man in thy house. And thou shalt see the enemy in my habitation, in all the wealth which God gave to Israel, and it shall not be an old man in thy house forever. That's quite a curse. And the man of thine... Oh, and when God says forever, it will be like that, it's going to be like that forever. So if you're, I guess, a descendant of Eli, sorry, you don't get to live an old life. And the man of thine, whom I shall cut off from thine altar, shall be consumed to thy eyes, and aggrieved to thine heart. And all the increase of thy house shall die in the flower of their age. And it shall be a sign unto thee that shall come upon thy 2 sons, on Hophni and Phinehas. In one day shall both of them die. And I will raise me up a faithful priest, that he shall do according to all that is in mine heart and in my mind, and will build him a sure house, and he will walk before my anointed forever. And it will come to pass, that every one that is left in thine house shall come and crouch before him, for a piece of silver and a morsel of bread, and shall say, Please, put me into one of the priest's office, that I may eat a piece of bread. So God is just going to cut them off completely. Chapter 3. And the child Samuel ministered unto the Lord before Eli, and the word of the Lord was precious in those days. There was no open vision. And it came to pass at that time, when Eli was laid down in his place, and his eyes began to wax dim, so that he might not see. And ere the lamp of God went out in the temple of the Lord, where the ark of the God was, Samuel was laid down to sleep. And the Lord called, Samuel. And he answered, Here am I. And he ran to Eli and said, Here am I, for thou calledst me. And he said, I called not, lie down again. And he went to lay down. The Lord called yet again, Samuel. Samuel arose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, for thou didst call me. And he answered and said, I called not, my son, lie down again. And Samuel did not yet know that it was the Lord, neither was the word of the Lord yet revealed to him. And the Lord called Samuel again a third time, and he rose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, for thou didst call me. And Eli perceived that the Lord had called the child. Therefore Eli said to Samuel, Go lie down, and it shall be, if he call thee, that thou shalt say, Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. So Samuel went down and lay in his place. And the Lord came and stood and called at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered and said, Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of everyone who heareth it shall tingle. In that day I will perform against Eli all the things I have spoken concerning his house, for when I begin, I will also make an end. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity that he knoweth, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not. And therefore I have sworn unto the house of Israel, that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice, nor offering forever. And Samuel lay down until the morning, and opened the doors of the house of the Lord. And Samuel feared to show Eli the vision. And Eli called Samuel and said, Samuel, my son. And he answered, Here I am. And he said, What is the thing the Lord hath said to thee? I pray thee, hide it not from me. God do so to thee, and more, if thou wilt hide any of it from me, of all the things he has said. And Samuel told him every whit, and he hid nothing. And he said, It is the Lord, let him do what he seemeth good to him. And Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and he let none of his words fall to the ground. And all Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of the Lord. And the Lord appeared again in Shiloh, for the Lord revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the word of the Lord. I just think it's so cool that he gets to hear from God and to have that sort of relationship where he gets to prophesy for him. I think that's just amazing. Well, that's not the end of what Samuel's going to do and his ministry, so we'll check out some more of that, and we'll catch you later.